we have our siren. The way that this siren works, we actually have a dual siren. So the center position is off, the bottom position is using one driver, and then the top position is using both drivers. And then you can manually switch it. And we usually use the whale mode. There's 3 modes. You can have whale, yelp, and then the phaser. The whale mode is used for, it's a long throw sound, so when you're driving straight, then you'll want to be in the whale mode. If you're coming to an intersection, the yelp and the phaser are the 2 sounds that are omnidirectional, so you'll switch to those sounds. A lot of studies have been done, and most have concluded that the yelp is the most effective mode. Some people like the phaser, but most studies have concluded that the yelp is the most effective mode in alerting folks. To turn the siren on, you just take the switch here and move it to the mode selected, and that turns it on. If you're in dual mode, then both of the drivers are going to work opposite of one another. If you're in single mode, then you're going to only have one sound. When you're going down the road, you can also hit the air horn at any point. We actually have 2 air horns on this truck, LB2, and 1 air horn on our LB1 truck. On LB1, the air horn is the electronic air horn located right here. And then on LB2, there is also the actual air horns located on each side of the hood there. The air horns can be activated in one of 2 ways on this truck, either from this switch here, where the passenger can control it, or there's also a foot pedal right here where the driver can control it while driving down the road. You have to be careful, especially if you're driving this truck, not to accidentally activate the air horn, as you can scare a number of people. The air horn will not work unless the module disconnect is on. So you'll notice if you turn that off, then you can punch the air horn all you wish and you will not get an air horn. When you turn it on, then punching the air horn will create loud sounds and hopefully alert people to get out of your way. If for some reason you do need the PA system, which I will warn you is the one piece of equipment on the truck that will get you in trouble the fastest, then the PA system is located on the siren. There's a volume knob where you can turn it from low to high, squeeze the microphone and talk. Be very careful with what you say on the PA system because we are a very large billboard rolling down the road and people know who to call. So don't get caught saying things you're not supposed to. When you're traveling, we always like to, when we're going to call, somebody should always ride up front. When we're riding with 3 people, it's a tendency to let the EMT or paramedic sit up front and then everybody else congregate in the back and talk or what have you while we're getting to the call. And that's really not the safest practice, especially if you're driving emergency. There's a lot going on that the driver's having to pay attention to, and whoever is sitting in the passenger seat is really responsible for 2 things. One is navigation, to make sure that the driver knows where they're going and gets where we're supposed to effectively. We have a map book that sits here in each one of our ambulances that has a map to each one of the facilities that we've gone to in the past. So you can pull that out, find the map to where we're going if you're not sure, and if the driver is sure, then you can assist them with traffic conditions, making sure that as you come up to intersections that the intersection is clear, what have you. One thing that you want to be very careful about is speaking in a clear tone of voice. Saying something like okay or you're fine, what have you, is not as effective as safe or unsafe or something along those lines. You want to speak loud and clear because that driver has a split second to make a decision to move through the red light or stay at the red light, and it's important that they not misunderstand the communication that you're giving them. One thing that I like to do and train everybody else to do is you always count lanes. If you have 3 lanes of traffic, then you need to see 3 lanes of stopped cars or clear. If you don't, then you're not clear except for through the first lane. And the driver can pull up to the first lane of traffic, you can clear the second lane, you can pull up, you can clear the third lane. So if you can't verify that all lanes are stopped, then don't say that the intersection is clear. The other thing is usually the driver will look left and clear that side if whoever is navigating can clear the right side. Then the driver will look to the right, verify quickly, and move on through the intersection. With Bonheur 2, Bonheur 1 does not have this feature, but with Bonheur 2, we do have the Opticon light changing system. So any city that uses that system, Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, all those areas have that, and the lights should turn green automatically as you drive towards them. So occasionally that does not work, but that should assist us in moving through lights quickly. One thing that you want to pay very close attention to is, for instance, this light now, because the back doors are open, the air ride system is down, so you have a flashing indicator here. You should never drive the truck when the air ride system is down. If that's the case, what happens is the airbags have two pieces of plastic rubber that rub against each other. It'll tear the airbag, and then you basically are riding on no shocks, one, while it's down, and two, once you tear it, then that's how you'll be riding for a long time. When the air ride system is not fully inflated, you will know it effectively immediately, because this truck does not have spring shocks. It rides on an air system. The other thing is, as doors and compartments are opened, then you'll notice that the lights will start flashing and alert you that you should not be traveling down the road. Something else that's important is your voltage indicator. You always want to make sure that you're charging. We draw a tremendous amount of power when we're fully operational, when we're suctioning, when we're doing some of those things. So you want to make sure that you're drawing somewhere more than about 13 volts. If you have less than 13 volts, chances are the alternators are not working properly, and you know, the battery won't be charging. If the battery's not charging, then you're at risk for being stranded. Something else that should be stated is this truck draws a tremendous amount of current, and we have narcotics and other information or other medications on the truck that are temperature sensitive. So our policy is, anytime the truck is not parked and plugged in at our bay right here in the POB, that the engine will be running. So if you go somewhere, if you go anywhere, then do not turn the truck off. Always leave it running. If you do turn it off, then that puts you at risk for, one, it not starting and not being able to get back, and also for your drugs to get outside of the temperature controls, what have you. If for some reason you're in an area that locking it is important, which you should do as much as possible, then you do have a spare set of keys. Each one of the key rings, this one has not been set up yet, but the other one has a carabiner. When you unclip the carabiner, you can leave the key in the ignition, and then the key fob can go with you where you can lock the truck. So that gives you the opportunity to have the engine running with the truck locked. If you're doing nighttime operations, you do have the overhead lights, but you'll notice that those are white. That can create glare on the glass. For map reading and so forth, we have a map light here that's in red, and that will give whoever the passenger is the opportunity to read the map and not distract the driver.